Hi there! Welcome back to the Embeemakes knitting channel. My name's Melissa and I'm the maker behind Embeemakes. You can find me here on YouTube as well as on Ravelry and Instagram as Embeemakes. Today I'm not here with a regular podcast episode, but I have a special video for you, which is my spring knitting plans. As we're already well into March, I want to share with you what I plan on knitting this spring season. But maybe first, what am I wearing? Well, this is my ranunculus tee that I knit at the end of summer of last year. And yeah, the weather is getting nicer, so it's great to be able to wear this t-shirt. I haven't worn it since I finished it, or maybe just once. So yeah, that's really nice. I got a lot of lovely compliments on this when I showed it in my what I knit in 2023 video, so thank you for that. Yeah, I will be wearing it probably a lot this spring. But today I will be sharing with you what I plan on knitting the coming months. Some of it is completely new cast-ons, but I also want to bring back some things on the needles that I started last year or even the year before that I finally want to finish this spring. And if you're a returning viewer, you also might be able to notice that I got a fresh haircut, which I think is really nice for spring. It's a bit shorter again, and yeah, I really like it. Maybe before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about my winter knitting plans, a little review on what I managed to finish and what I didn't. And the only thing from the list that I actually finished is my Saga winter neck. I've showed it in a podcast episode before. But I still have my port sweater on the needles, but that's really close to being finished. Hopefully this week or the week after. And then I also have my stick season on the needles. And my pippin cardigan, which wasn't in my winter knitting plans, but was in my just general knitting plans for last year. So those are all projects that are still on my needles. So from the ones I will be showing today as new cast-ons, I won't be casting them on right away. I first want to clear my needles a little bit before I dive right in, but I made some swatches and yeah, they make me really happy and I'm ready for spring to start. One of the projects from my winter knitting plans that I want to bring into spring is my Lento sweater. This is the swatch I made for it. I put it in my winter knitting plans because I thought, well, if I finish it in winter, I can wear it in the spring because it's quite a nice and lightweight sweater. But yeah, since I've heard that this knits up quite quickly, since it's on large needles and quite a big gauge, I maybe want to cast this on next so that I still finish it in early spring and maybe get a few wears out of it before it gets too warm. Here in Belgium we can still get some pretty cold weather in April and even in May. It depends. So yeah, I could probably still wear this without a jacket on. Or maybe in the evening when it gets a bit colder. So I still want to make this very soon. The yarn I'm using for this is a merino cone by Woolly Knit and a strand of Surrey from the Mindful Creators, which is a hand-dyed yarn that gives this nice variegation. So that's the first of my knitting plans. Then the second is another cardigan. So when I finish my pippin cardigan, I will be casting on the Marysia cardigan by Vert and Rose. And this is my swatch. This is a lovely purple. I bought this yarn actually a year ago. And I had this cardigan in mind when I bought it. This is the Mayo garn, their merino and their silk mohair paired together. I have the two skeins here. So this is the merino. I put on this little spot to know which skeins I use for my swatch. This is the mohair. And so together they create this. I got gauge. I think I'm just slightly one stitch or half stitch off. But I will just cast on and see how it goes. I'm not sure about the size yet. I need to check. I don't want it to be too oversized, but not fitted as well. So I will have a look at the pattern. I think I bought it already, so it's in my pattern library. And yeah, really looking forward to having this cardigan in my wardrobe. Then another kind of purple knit is this swatch I have. It's not the same purple at all, but it leans kind of purpley pink, which I think is also a nice color on me. So this is 2 strands of Holst Garn Ghost held together. And this time I used my metal needles to swatch because of some issues I had with the Holst Garn Super Soft on my wooden needles, which you can learn more about in my podcast episode. But yeah, so for this one I used my metal needles and I swatched with 2 strands held together of the Holst Garn Ghost. It's in this lovely plum purple color. And I will be knitting the Poppy Tea by Petite Knit with this yarn. I have 6 skeins, and I think I have one here. They're 350 meters per 50 grams, so I definitely have enough yarn. This is 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton, which I think is a nice combination for a spring tea, definitely here in Belgium. So this is the yarn. I did have another pattern in mind first that has the same kind of look as the Poppy Tea, to not always be knitting petite knit patterns, discovering other designers, but those didn't match the gauge that I had here. And I really just wanted to use this yarn, held double, no other strands. I will show here some other examples of t-shirts that I considered for this yarn, but that didn't really meet gauge or weren't on a good needle size to get this fabric. Those are patterns by other designers than Petite Knit, and I also want to make these someday with other yarns from my stash, but I wanted to make something with this yarn this spring season. And then the last garment I want to knit this spring is with other yarn that I had in stash again. I did knit something with this, if you remember from somewhere in the very beginning of my knitting videos. This is Drops Cotton Merino, this bright green. I knit a top out of it. It was kind of freestyle, kind of based on a pattern from Veritas. And I have some leftovers of this. And I also had some single skeins, these 2 colors, which I thought was nice as a contrast stripe. And then I had this white, all cotton merino by Drops. And so I thought that would make a nice pairing with the 3 different color stripes. And so this is what it looks like in a swatch. I will be going down half a needle size. This is knit on 4.5mm needles, but I will be going down to a 4mm needle because I'm not meeting gauge for the pattern I want to make, and it's also a bit too see-through for my liking. So I think going down 1 needle size should fix that. And so the pattern I will be knitting is the Farnham tee by the Knit Pearl Girl. I shared this pattern in my t-shirt roundup video from last year. There are quite a few nice t-shirts in there that I still want to make in the future, maybe some this summer. But this is one that I would like to start in spring, probably end of May somewhere. I used my wooden needles to make this swatch, and so I will be going on holiday at the beginning of June. So I'm hoping to take this as a project with me. So it's kind of spring, kind of summer knit already. But I think I will really like wearing this in the spring as a finished t-shirt. I really like it. It's really lovely. I think it will be cute to then just keep going and knitting the different colored stripes. The tee normally is knit just in 1 main color and 1 contrast color, but since I had some different color skeins that I thought looked really nice together for a colorful spring-summer tee, I wanted to combine these, and I have them all in stash, so it's good to use up some summer yarns from my stash. And then one other new cast on is a sock that I want to knit this spring. And it's one from the Charming Colorwork Socks book by Stone Knits. And I actually want to knit the one here on the cover, the Tiptoe Through the Tulip socks. So these ones. And the colors that I chose for it, I went stash diving, and I had this skein of very light blue Lana Grossa Melon Wet Seta in my stash, which is yarn that I also use for some other socks that I will talk about in just a minute. So this light blue as the main color for the sock. And then for the tulips, I had this yarn in my stash. And it is Wol om in te wonen. It's hand-dyed yarn by a local yarn shop, which means wool to live in. And yeah, this is just a regular 80% wool, 20% nylon sock yarn. I have used part of this skein already for some penny gloves, I think, about 2 years ago. But I still have quite enough left. So this will be the color for the tulips. And then for the stems or the leaves of the tulips, I have this mini skein from the Mindful Creators. I had a sock set with different colors of brown and green, and I thought this was a nice spring green as the leaves for the tulips. So yeah, I think those will be nice tulip socks. I really want to make some more patterns from Stone Knits' book, because later this year I think she's coming out with a new one. So yeah, I want to make some more of her patterns first before I buy or ask for a second one. But yeah, that's it for the new things I want to cast on this spring. But I also have some projects on my needles that I want to work on this spring other than my more recent active whips. Some whips that I want to bring back and spend some more time on to really finish before the end of spring. And the first one is a sock that I test knit. I have the first one here. This is the Tikva sock by Lydia Rabarber. And yeah, for the test knit we only had to finish one, so that's what I did. And it's a lovely combination of two yarns by Olivia and Oliver fibers. And it has a lovely lace pattern all over the sock. This, I think Tikva means spring in Hebrew. So yeah, these are perfect spring socks. And I have the second one on my needles, but I just need to spend some time on it. And yeah, they knit up really quickly actually. It's really addictive and simple lace pattern. So I just need to put this inside somewhere that I get reminded to work on them. But I think, yeah, that's quite a common thing for knitters. If you have a lot of whips that you tend to forget about some at one point. But that's okay. Then the second sock that I want to finish this spring is a sock that I cast on in May last year. So I really want to have these done. And the first one I finished. These are the Seaborn socks by Herb Garden Knitwear. And I knit these in actually the same yarn, this one, the Melamed Zeta. I used a green and white color. And so it's a really nice sock yarn actually, because it has some silk in it. It's 55% wool, 25% polyamide and 20% silk. So really soft. These socks feel really nice. Well, this sock. I need to cast on the second one. Yeah, I just need to do it. It's only a bit, the start is a bit fiddly because you start from the cuff, which you do a, I think, Italian cast on or tubular cast on to get this nice edge. And then, yeah, do this textured pattern before moving on to the stripes, which are really addictive. So this actually is a very this actually is a sock that knits up pretty fast. Again, I just need to get started on it. So those are the socks that I definitely want to finish this spring season. And then one more project I want to bring back and hopefully finally finish is an old one. It's been on my needles for 2 years now. I cast it on in April 2022 as my birthday cast on, because I treated myself with the yarn for my birthday. And I've made some good progress on it over the years. I've from time to time picked it up and then I worked on it and then I forgot about it. But here it is. It's my Soufflé by Laura Penrose. And it's not actually a very difficult pattern. It's just, yeah, with the mohair, I can't really easily take it with me or something. So I like to just work on it at home. I had connected for the body. I have about 10 centimeters, I think. So I have, yeah, just some knitting in the round actually. So I could use this as my meeting knitting. It's just a bit fiddly because you have the 2 strands of mohair. So you need to make sure that you always, yeah, knit the 2 strands. I'm using the recommended Lang Yarns lace, which is a really nice mohair, really soft. And yeah, I want to make some good progress on this the coming months so that I can hopefully have it finished this year. And then I can use these needles for something else. I also have some lovely stitch stoppers on them from Ginger and Thyme to match my project. So that's actually all for my knitting plans for this spring. I will of course be working on the things that I got on my needles currently as well. But I'm very excited to be starting these projects or reviving the ones that I forgot about for a while. And yeah, looking forward to having some new lovely garments in my wardrobe. I'm curious to know what you will be knitting this spring season, so definitely let me know down below. Will you be knitting any of the patterns that I talked about today? Or do you have other recommendations that you think I would like? Definitely let me know. I also want to take this time to thank you all for commenting and liking my videos. I really had some lovely comments on my last few videos, which I really enjoy reading all of them. And I'm very happy that you like the things that I show here. So yeah, thank you for coming back. And I hope to see you in the next video soon. Bye!